Bienvenidos, soy la Bruja Espinada and I am here with your blood full moon in Virgo reading. So let's get started. A lot's happening right now. As of yesterday, Saturday, February 28th, in the Pacific Standard Time, Northern Hemisphere region, we just had a planetary alignment. On top of that, it is also, sorry, I'm looking at my notes again. It is also, we are in the worm moon. So it's a blood worm moon in Virgo reading. So there is quite a bit that has to be done. Today is Sunday, as of recording, Sunday, March 1st, the first day of a new month, the new Gregorian month. But on top of that, we are also entering Mercury retrograde. We have several different retrogrades going on. Again, let me look at my notes. So there should be a lot happening at this time. Now, mind you, with there being a lunar eclipse, one of the things that is typically discouraged, especially with an eclipse, what is typically discouraged is doing things for your personal gain. Not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but if you have not cleared any karma on your end, making sure that you've made good on any loose ends that you have left in your wake, it's just be mindful, because sometimes the things that you hope to manifest may blow back in your face, but that's all because you have to be able to clear your karma or stay inside. That's one of the other options. Make sure that you're wearing your obsidian, wearing black, just to guard yourself. If you have a piece of obsidian, you can place it on your belly button or over your heart, just to keep yourself safe. Because again, it's not necessarily saying that you did something bad intentionally, but sometimes it happens that you are a villain in someone's story, whether it's intentional or not. Again, that may be because someone just has something against you, or they can't, if someone were to ask them, like, why do you hate that person so much? Why don't you like them? Like, what is your beef with that person? And they'll be like, sometimes their answer is, I just can't put my finger on it, but there's something about them I don't like. It could be a reflection on themselves, but because that animosity is there and you are seen as the villain in that person's chapter in their life, just be mindful. Okay, just be very careful. And usually what I recommend during this time is, if that energy is out there during an eclipse, whether it's solar or lunar, so there's a little gnat in here. Whether it's solar or lunar, one of the things that you want to do before entering your home is shaking off those energies, and just from head to toe, from head to toe, just saying, I release the energies that have attached themselves to me that do not bring good into my home. I return these energies. I keep only good energy. And if you want to be extra nice, including that karmic energy, one of the things you can say, I release these negative energies and I transmute them into something better, whoever comes across them. Even better. So let's get started with this reading now that our announcements are out of the way. Sacred Spirit Guides, Ascended Antepasados, Mighty Divine. Ooh, lovely. What messages do you have for us? We have the Chariot and we have the Magician. Very lovely cards to have depicted here. Very, very interesting energies to start off with. At the bottom of the deck, we have the Hermit, the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, and so Mercury retrograde begins. It affects your communication. We have the World, everyone's favorite card, Temperance. We have the Ace of Cups in reverse, the King of Pentacles, the Knight of Cups, the Ten of Swords. We have the Emperor. Ooh, this is interesting. We have the Sun in reverse, Nine of Wands in reverse. We have the Two of Wands, the Three of Wands in reverse. Shoot. And the Page of Wands. We're going to stay there. If I feel we need to pull anything out, we will do so. So let's get started with the Chariot. The Chariot is that indicator that things are moving. Things are definitely starting to move. The Chariot always serves as a reminder that you are in charge of the way you lead. No one else is driving your chariot. You hold the reins. Now, it is up to you how fast and how slow you want to go. Now, if you've been watching the other readings, you'll know that there has been a definite shakeup, right? And so we did have the Tower card in the past reading. So one of the things that you must take into consideration is that we did have the Chariot card in one of the two past readings, and the Chariot card was in reverse. This time it's right side up. Things are clearing up. Remember, these are basically reminders, right? These are the words of wisdom from the Holy Divine that are here to give you reminders of things you may have just simply forgotten. And that's why the Chariot is here. The Chariot serves as that memory jog that you need, that you hold the reins. Whether you want to hop off the chariot and walk it home, whatever your speed that you can handle, remember, you are in control. But that also serves as a reminder that you cannot blame how fast your chariot goes on anyone else. You have to hold yourself accountable. You have to assume responsibility at the rate that you go. Now, if you are a responsible driver, literally and figuratively, metaphorically, you should be aware that you need to keep your eyes on the road. Don't let yourself be distracted by, looking at your cell phone too much. That's the only other thing that I can think of. I was watching a show that had to do with a car accident. It was a cartoon. But the universe works in mysterious ways. So I feel the need to tell you, in this show, there is an accident that happens between 4 vehicles. And every single individual has a reason why they happened to trigger a chain reaction of accidents. So the very first vehicle hits the brakes because they saw a ball roll into the road. The car behind them was a gentleman who was distracted by being on his phone and did not witness the sudden break of the car in front of them. The person behind them, which is the main character of the show, did not signal as they were pulling away from the curb, and the person behind them was distracted by a cute figurine that they had on their dashboard. Now, in this show, it is trying to resolve the situation to see who truly was at fault. In the end, the fault was going to fall onto the very first driver who hit their brakes, and no one saw or witnessed this mysterious ball that rolled into the road. Well, before the officers leave, the main character of the show then explains what happened, and they finally get like a witness testimony that they realize, oh yes, it was something that of someone else's that happened to roll into the road. Well, everyone had left the scene at that point, and the officer let the main character know that because they spoke up to clarify something, chances were that they would primarily be the ones held responsible because they held themselves accountable. Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing? It depends on how you interpret that, right? Point being, if you become so distracted that you forget to do something or that you take your eyes off the road, the whole point is that remember that you are in charge of your own life. You are in charge of the decisions and choices that you make that will impact yourself and the others that are in your life. And you can only hold yourself accountable for those things, whether they be good or whether they lead to be something bad. Every single choice and decision that we make is one that we must take accountability for. Now, can we change these mindsets? Are we capable of navigating and making better decisions, better choices, not just for ourselves, but for how they will impact others? Of course we can, because this is a reminder from the magician. You are that magician. You are that baddie that is capable of manifesting, that is capable of manipulating your life to be led in the direction that you so choose. Is that a good direction? Are the decisions that you made good turns? Are you paying attention enough so that you make these wise decisions and you don't negatively impact somebody else? Unless they're notably bad people. Then I should be mindful not to say that, because karma comes for everyone, has their karma due to them, whether it's good karma or bad karma. But point B, the magician. Now remember, as I stated, right now is a very interesting time to try to be setting any manifestations, especially if you have any karmic debt. Now, let me clarify something here really quick. Karma, as everyone knows it, people can say like, oh, karma is a bitch. No, karma is karma, right? It's the only reason why karma would be a bitch is if you've been acting like one. And it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. So you need to cut that shit out, quit blaming karma, and be mindful that the choices and decisions that you made manifested what came about to be. Now, there's so many different interpretations of how karma can come about, but essentially, from what my understanding is, and I could be wrong, but the way that I've come to understand it, and it's changed as I've gained a bit more knowledge and I've spoken to other people, interacted with people that are more knowledgeable in what karma is. It's that it is an energy, right? It is an energy. It's not inherently good. It's not inherently bad, but it's an energy. It's the concept, from what my understanding is that the energy that you exude makes a huge impact. And I've spoken on this before from several other practices, that the energies that you leave behind become absorbed and it cycles, right? Because energy just doesn't automatically stop. Settle on that. Energy is in constant, it's fluid, right? It's moving, it's radiating, it's echoing. And so when you make a bad decision, that is a type of energy. And if you're manifesting energy, especially when it comes to retrogrades, that right now we're in several different retrogrades, and Mercury retrograde just started, and then it's an eclipse, and it's a blood moon. And one of the things you have to take into consideration is that the reason why it is not good to work manifestation during an eclipse is because of that energy. Again, it's that karmic concept of, you may not have intentionally done something to piss someone off. You could simply just be existing, and that energy will just come around, whether it's because you wanted it or not, right? But the negative energy from anyone else coming to you will reverberate and go back to that person. Does not serve you to have bad intentions, or, you know, but just be mindful of like trying to cleanse. Now, does that suck because you have a laundry list of things that you would like to wish and manifest and you had your intentions set on? Yeah, but that doesn't mean that you're not going to still put them out there. Just don't put them out there on a night like on the night of the full moon, right? You can use other manifesting practices that exist. Like, one other thing that you can do is you can use the sun. This is a lunar eclipse, it's not a solar eclipse. You could try to utilize the sun in this instance. So instead of putting out water to have blessed moon water, you can put out a cup of water in the sun. You can bathe with that water. You can like put herbs in there so that they're brewed, and then you can bathe with that at night, cleansing yourself from any negative ties that may be held onto you. But it's a time to kind of go in and reflect, especially since it's a worm moon. Worms are underneath the ground. They're moving, they're burrowing, they're leaving good things in their wake. And when we talk about this going within, is we see it with the Hermit. You can still manifest, but take this time to really go within and make sure that everything that you're wanting to manifest is ultimately not going to cause anyone else harm. That's why this is here. Now, one of the things that I would like to state, just to be mindful of, especially when it comes to manifestation, the lunar eclipse that has to do with the retrogrades, is just being cautious because we do have the Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Not wholly a bad thing, but one of the things you want to be careful of is if a lot of the manifestations that you have at this time are tied to finances, your resources, any monetary things that you are really banking on right now, because things might come to a halt. One of the other things that I like to explain is that I'm trying to think of how to explain it. So when it comes to anything in regards to resources, not saying that things will backfire, but something that you might want to take into consideration is that things might come to just a pause or a halt. And if you're like desperately banking on this, it might stress you out just a little bit more. And that's one of the things that you don't need right now, right? This is just that reminder. how do I want to explain this? So there are several different things with this. Don't overstress currently when it comes to finances. Try not to think too much on it. If there is some additional funds that you have at hand, utilize this to properly invest in yourself. And I say properly because sometimes we may have a tendency to say things like, I'm going to treat myself. There's nothing wrong with treating yourself, but over treating is not healthy, right? Because then you could have better utilized that to either pay off debt or to get you set up for something bigger. There could have been a better investment, a self-investment, like paying for a course that you know is going to help you increase your monetary value. And also understanding your worth. Don't sell yourself short. Also, don't kill yourself trying to, or don't end yourself trying to make this money, especially right now. You're going to burn yourself out. You won't be able to enjoy it. But that's part of that reflection of going within, right? It's taking that time to remember who you are. Remember what you are capable of, what your abilities are. Focus on that self-wealth. Don't focus too much on securing that back. Don't overspend. Invest wisely in yourself. Now, we are moving on, and with this, we have the world. The world, and this is a very, very beautiful card, because the world, as you see here, there's so many stars, and suns that are radiating in the distance, and the world is looking upon it. What does this mean? There's many different ways that you could interpret this, but the way that this reading is being set up is telling you to remember, similar to the Chariot, similar to the Magician. This is why the Hermit is here. It is time to reflect. Truly think on what you're creating for yourself, what kind of a world you're trying to mold for yourself. You're never too old to recreate your world. You're never too old to recreate. And I don't mean like copy as in recreate. I mean as in remodeling, as in refurbishing, as in changing things. You are never too old to achieve things that you've always wanted to do, that you need to do, understanding that the world that you have lived in may no longer serve you, and you are now in a world that needs change, especially during these times. It is not easy to be in the world that we are in right now. It is not. But there is so much that can be accomplished still. And that's why these are the prominent cards that have come out. The Magician and the Chariot. Your world is yours. It's the world that you live in. But contemplate on what you want your world to look like. How are you going to navigate yourself to get there? Remember what your self-worth is, because you deserve it. And that's why Temperance is here. Temperance is that reminder that it's not an easy road. And for the select few that I know always come back to these readings, and I appreciate y'all being here, but I know all of you, primarily on a personal level, you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient. I will not apologize for that, because you gotta be patient. And as much as you hate it, you gotta be. Impatience has not served you well thus far. And even though you are in charge of how fast you would like things to be, when things come to a halt and a pause, it's because you need to take a moment to reflect. Okay? And you need to remember to be patient, especially on a Mercury retrograde, where you have to be very, very mindful on what you say, because Mercury is the god of communication, travel. So things, and especially right now when it comes to travel, you have to be very, very careful. But especially when it comes to communication, you need to be mindful of things that you're going to say. Now, moving forward, along with patience, which is actually very, very interesting when it comes to temperance. As you see here, there is a cup that is pouring itself into the hands of this individual. And what do we have following that? We have the Ace of Cups in reverse. What does that mean? The Ace of Cups in reverse is typically an indicator that there is there's some emotions that may be repressed. There may be some issues that people are avoiding in feeling, and it's understandable. However, you need to give yourself that love. You have to feel those feelings. You have to go through it, because blinding yourself with work isn't going to save you. It'll burn you out. And then there might be something that causes you to get sick or injured, and then you have nothing to do but sit and reflect. Trust me, I've known quite a few of you that this has happened to. Ooh. Even to me. So this is just a reminder, you can't repress any of those feelings. You got to face it head on, because if you're trying to maximize this abundance of resource, and I don't mean just monetary or financial, I do mean abundance of resources, abundance of love, abundance of friendship, abundance of familiar community where you share those values and you guys thoroughly help each other. That's where these resources are going to be, but you have to be mentally and emotionally sound to be able to give and receive and build this healthy resource community of resources. And it's a learning experience. How do we know it's a learning experience? How do I know that you've been making strides in actually doing this? Because we have the Knight of Cups. We have the Knight of Cups. Again, this isn't calling you out in the sense that you're not doing it. It's just, remember, when you're starting off, even if you've come a long way, relapse happens, and it's okay. Sometimes we just have triggers that bring us back to old reactions. It happens. But from there, how are you going to navigate that? That Knight of Cups is that indicator that reminds you that you are in control, right? Let's say you're riding this bike and something triggers a reaction. You swerve, but you have that ability to figure that out. Are you going to hop off the bike? Are you going to regain your composure? What is it you're going to do? And yes, it sucks because we have the 10 of Swords here. It sucks. It sucks. It hurts. It's a bunch of BS that you don't want to deal with anymore. And guess what? You now can leave it behind. Not by repressing it. Not by repressing it. But by dealing with it in the new ways, the new methods, the new paths that you've learned how to do so. But yes, this is that affirmation where like, yeah, it sucks. It fucking sucks. It's not a joyride. It's not easy. That is just that reminder, kind of acknowledging that, yes, it does suck. Now, what are you going to do? You can cry about it for a little bit, but don't wallow in it. And I know you're not going to, because we have the Emperor. We have that Emperor here, and I love this depiction of the Emperor. Super sassy, super cute. Now, the beauty, and not everyone likes cats, and if you don't, I think there's something wrong with you. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not strictly a dog person. I'm not strictly a cat person. I love all animals. I'm pretty allergic to the majority of them anyways. But the thing with the Emperor card here is that reminder of who you are, of what you're capable of. An emperor is an emperor because they were able to overcome and conquer. Now, if you know anything about cats and their sassiness, they act, and some people don't like them just because of how sassy they are, and that, you know, that people are like, they're so full of themselves. Yeah, they are. They know their self-worth. Remember, gotta go within and remember what your true self-worth is. And that's why this is here. This is what this indicator is. It's that reminder that you are able to overcome so much. Now, you're able to overcome so much. Okay. Don't reflect too long on all that pain that you've had to overcome, but set your eyes on understanding that you've reached a new level of capabilities, right? It's that reminder. This is why this is here. Now, the reason why the reminders of don't forget are there, there's just that indicator, right? It's just reminding you. And a lot of it too is that when the Sun is typically one of those cards that is a very good card. Very rarely have I ever had the Sun come out in reverse, which is very interesting when it does. When the Sun comes out in reverse, it is usually because we're reflecting on something that hurts. Whether it's because of everything that you've overcome, and it's that reminder like, yeah, I'm happy to have it now, but I wish I didn't have to go through everything that I went through. And it hurts. It does. It genuinely does. And believe me, I definitely understand. And it hurts. But you need not, I'm not going to tell you that you have to just let it go. But just sit there with yourself and say, yeah, that fucking sucked. And you don't have to say it to anybody, but that's this reminder. Yes, it sucked, But sometimes saying it just to yourself is going to be your best bet. And not in all instances, but for some. It sucks because no one will affirm that for you. People may tell you that you're making a big deal out of nothing, that you need to forget about it already, you need to let it go already, like just move on already. And while in hindsight, it makes sense because this is something that you will have to do. Sometimes some people will not confirm, affirm, reaffirm that, yeah, it fucking sucked. But I'm here to tell you, yeah, it fucking sucked. And I may not know you, but I believe you that it sucked. But this is that reminder that you conquered it. That you now have all this power to navigate a life that you truly have earned. Now, is it easy? Of course it hasn't been. But don't let holding on to it hold you back from what you deserve. Okay? Now, we have the Nine of Wands, and the Nine of Wands is in reverse. What does this mean? Well, typically when we have wands that are building up, usually it's a reminder of, I don't want to say burdens, but what I want to say, sometimes like you okay, I'm trying to think of how I want to explain this. Sometimes there are tasks, additional obstacles, a little bit more bumps in the road than you would have liked. But this Nine of Wands in reverse, because typically when it's right side up, it's just that reminder, like, yes, it's there, but, you know, it's that indicator of your faith is being tested. You know, it's just that reminder of, sorry, that's not. It's typically a test in reminding you of how to set boundaries, or how are you going to navigate this new obstacle, right? Now, when the Nine of Wands is in reverse, it's kind of that reminder. It's not too far off from it being right side up, but what it is an indicator of is, again, referring back to the Chariot, how are you going to navigate this, right? This is a test kind of a thing. There's an extra bump in the road. How are you going to navigate it? How big is the bump? Can you ride over it? Can you ride around it? Is it possible? Is it going to be more dangerous to swerve? Or should you just get off? And yeah, it's going to slow you down, but is it going to be smarter to get off the Chariot and just walk around it, walk over it, take the longer route? You're gonna have a choice, okay? And the reason why I say this is because the rest of the cards that we have are all wands. We have the Two of Wands, where there's always a choice. There is a two, there is a choice. Which are you going to choose, right? And then we have the Three of Wands in reverse. Now, that is an indicator of a bit of struggle, right? When we have the Three of Wands, in reverse. And okay. I don't want to jump ahead, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. You have a choice, right? And how you're going to deal with this, right? How are you going to deal with this new obstacle that is the Nine of Wands in reverse? And what comes out is the Three of Wands, which is kind of like, again, an obstacle, unexpected delays. So maybe it's something that's going to slow you down just a tad. And you have the Page of Wands, which is an indicator of a learning experience. So whether you don't want to deal with this new obstacle, the way that you handle it is going to be up to you and how you choose it. But it's going to still be a learning experience. And yeah, it might cause a delay. But don't let the sun set on that, right? Don't be too much in the feels that, yeah, it sucks. Yeah, it sucks. It definitely sucks. But you're learning how to handle that reaction. You know, you're not repressing those emotions so you don't let her blow up. But you've got this in the bag. You've got this. These learning experiences make you the ultimate sovereign because you've learned how to navigate all of that. And you're manifesting everything you deserve. Everything you deserve. So, with all that being said, Mighty Fates, is there anything else to this lesson we should add for our watchers? At this time, we have the underworld. The reason why I smile is because we have the Patience card. I can't make this shit up. So, let's start with the underworld. The underworld sorry, I was trying to see if I can like just stumble upon it. And usually I can't. Okay, underworld. Here we go. And I passed it. There we go. Here it is. The underworld. If the underworld card comes to you, it is either an invitation to go within yourself, or it serves as an acknowledgement of where you currently are. If you do not sense you are in the underworld, then this card is asking you to take a pause and allow things that need to fall away to do so. If you are in the underworld at the moment, it can only feel like it is a trial after trial, loss after loss. It may also feel empty and uncomfortable. The underworld is where we die and we are reborn. It holds the fire of transformation. That one's on fire. So many people resist being in the underworld or try to rush the journey. But this card is asking you to settle into it and surrender. Give yourself permission to be in this in-between space and welcome the changes to the best of your ability. While you are in the underworld, we need to allow ourselves to be there without anticipating the rebirth. We must simply be there. Again, I don't make this shit up. Let's move on with patience. Everyone's favorite word. Here we go. Here we are. This card brings a message that you must be patient and trust divine timing. Humans are anxious creatures. We know what we want and we want it now. But we are also working in collaboration with the divine, which means that sometimes we have to wait longer than we would like. Looking to the earth can be helpful when we are working to cultivate patience. We cannot rush the seasons. A tadpole cannot rush its metamorphosis. A tree cannot rush its growth. This card asks you to have faith that your own process is happening in perfect time. Oof! Love it. Let us finish with the animal spirit guide. Animal spirit guides. What do you have to close out this reading? One card, please, if you could. One last word of wisdom for those that are watching this reading. I know I've been trying to keep this short. I'm like watching the time. I'm just going off on tangents. But again, they're like little reminders that just happen to come out. So we have Stag Spirit, which is take the lead. And we have Koala Spirit. Spirit has a plan. So let's start with the stag. I think it's the first time I pulled the Stag Spirit. Okay, Stag Spirit. Whether or not you have set your intention to lead, you may have found yourself suddenly called to step up to the forefront of your life. Stag Spirit is a reminder that now is a time to heed the call to be sure, strong, and compassionate. Others will look to you, and if you have it within you to see through the eyes of Stag Spirit and walk with confidence as you take on the responsibilities that are yours now, and model integrity in all that you do and in all your relationships. Be willing to see the best in others so your compassionate heart keeps you on the right path. Stag Spirit wants you to know that your responsibilities now are to yourself too, for you are learning and developing new skills. The best in you is coming into view as you step forward with strength, knowing that Spirit supports you as you compassionately take the lead. You are a model for transformation now, sharing your experience, strength, and hope with others so that they may grow to discover their best selves too. What a gift you are. Stay humble and authentic and walk your talk, for this is how a wise leader leads. That's why we have the King of Pentacles and we have the Emperor card, because you know, you've learned, you've experienced. Others may not be as far along as you are on your journey. When Stag Spirit appears in the protection position, you are called to be compassionate and patient as you find yourself leading the way. That patient word. When others struggle to follow you, they may be unsure that you can be trusted, challenging you to be kind and strong, challenging your value and questioning your worth. Know that Spirit has put you in this place at this time for a purpose and will not abandon you when you need help with your new responsibilities. Or perhaps you are actually uncomfortable leading, maybe temporarily trapped by your small self, and therefore promoting yourself too strongly, afraid that others might see weakness or imperfection in you. Let go of your fears and let Stag Spirit remind you that you have what it takes to lead wisely and ethically if you practice self-honesty and listen to others who wish to support you. Whew, there you go. Now finishing off with our last card, and that is the Koala Spirit. Now, in nature, the koala moves slowly through the branches of the eucalyptus tree, leisurely chewing on the leaves, reminding us that life is not a race or competition. Chasing around after every distraction can keep us from recognizing that we have all we need and that spirit will always be there with gifts to sustain us. You are being asked to trust that by moving slowly with faith in abundance, that this is everywhere, surrounding to a power greater than yourself, you will be able to experience the manifestation you desire. As you take your time enjoying the riches available to you right now, sitting peacefully, you begin to radiate the joy you discover happiness. As you take your time enjoying the riches available to you right now, sitting peacefully, you begin to radiate the joy and abundance you seek. Spirit is here to help you discover happiness, pleasure, and contentment. All gifts that are yours now and in the future. Have faith and trust in Spirit's plan for you, and know that you are loved and cherished. Are you feeling uneasy and mistrustful of the world? Have you been hiding in a safe spot, afraid to venture out because you're convinced that life and other people will disappoint you? Koala Spirit has appeared to let you know that your faith is misplaced. The present safety you seek is already passing away because all the things are temporary and outer conditions are always changing. Find your safety by placing your faith and trust in Spirit, who will grow the abundance that is already yours. Perhaps you're acting too slowly and overly cautious because you lack faith that there is more for you out there than what you know. You may have boxed yourself into a safe space that has nothing else to give you and become so familiar with it that you have forgotten to explore. Are you feeling pessimistic and convinced that there is nothing more out there for you? Koala Spirit reminds you that self-care is meant to replenish you so that you can venture out again in faith, trusting that there is no limit to the joy Spirit wants you to experience. Be good to yourself and reconnect with Spirit to reclaim your faith in things yet seen. Oof. I can't make this shit up. Patience, trusting yourself, especially having faith in yourself. It's all here. It is all here. And as always, I genuinely hope that this helps, and I'll see you guys next time.